What's up guys, Dapper here, and we're back with some more Marble World. I've been having a lot of fun with this game, and you guys seem to really enjoy it, so in today's episode, I built a dam that floods the town with thousands of marbles in order to assert my dominance, which, you know, they gotta know who's boss, right? It turns my PC into a potato, but it still looks super awesome. So let's jump right in and see how I built it. So the first thing I started building was the dam. So we started off by grabbing a marble spawner. Once we placed that, I immediately went for the paint tool. This would save us some time later down the road, so I wouldn't have to go back and paint everything. All right, so from there, pretty much all I had to do was do a ton of copy and pasting till I ended up with a base that looks like this. All right, so then the next step was, you guessed it, more copying pasting. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of copy and pasting with this one, so bear with me. So now we have our real base, because we want a ton of marbles to spawn on this. So after I had like the complete bottom, I ended up copy pasting again, and then we flipped it around so that marbles would spawn on the top and kind of so that 2 rows of marbles would spawn into each other. Next, we had to make sure it was placed perfectly. Then finally, we had some more copy pasting, and then we had to move them all into place. And then finally, we had the basic dam. So I saw a problem right away. The marbles were definitely going to fall out of the sides. So we had to add some kind of something to keep them in. So I started placing some pieces of wood. Once the wood pieces were placed, I saw that we would have one more problem. So on the front of the dam, the way I have this set up, there are still some holes that the marbles can get through when the whole thing is on an angle. So the plan is to put it at an angle. So we actually have to cover up the front to stop the marbles from falling out. So I used these little pieces of wood and I angled them to make sure that marbles wouldn't get caught on them. And then after that, our dam was pretty much done. So then we started placing rocks just to kind of see how it would look. Trying to make it really look like a dam, and I just felt like, you know, like a valley. I don't know, I just felt like it would look better with the whole rocks. Anyway, we then started placing all the flooring, which would really be water. I do end up painting this blue, as you can see. And we try to place a river after this, but as you'll see later in the video, it doesn't really work out. But I figured I'd show you guys this anyway. So after I thought the river was done, then we started to work on the houses next. Actually, then we extended the base, and I unpainted it, and then soon after started placing all the housing. So I started first by laying out some roads, because I really wanted to make like a little roadway system. So I started placing houses next to the road just to see how it would look. So I started placing various different houses. I started moving them around, place a couple tall buildings there. And then we really just start fleshing out the town at this point. Oh, this is really cool. So when I added grass, that's when everything really started to change. It started to look so good once the grass was placed. It really felt like an actual town was being created. I then did some testing, and this is when the potato starts to hit. I just wanted to see how the marbles would react, you know, with the river that I was building and just the way the houses were formed. I didn't want too many of them getting stuck, but this is really why I decided to delete the river, because it really separated all the marbles and none of the marbles could really get over the river. In my mind, I wanted to make the river so that the marbles could really flood over them, but that didn't really end up happening. So we ended up getting rid of the river, and also a lot of the marbles got stuck on the roads. So I then attempted to build like little ramps for the roads. I wasn't really liking the look of it. I didn't really know if the marbles could get up it. So we then discovered that we could actually just lower the roads. So that's what we end up doing. And then we don't even test it after this. So luckily the marbles get over the roads easy enough. They still get stuck on them, but you know, I didn't see it as a big deal. A few marbles got stuck, just as long as the majority could get over. So then we started placing tons of decorations, you know, did some light poles, placed the houses. We tried to finish up all the roadways and really just started fleshing out the entire town, the whole scene. And then we actually end up extending the entire town. As you can see, I accidentally copied a bunch of houses here, but it's no problem because we're just going to delete them here in a second. So now that we have room for tons of activities, I basically just filled it with as many buildings as I could. And once all that was done, we basically had a fully fleshed out town. Everything was starting to look good. So the next step, I thought it would be cool to add some like side skirts to the whole thing, just to kind of keep all the marbles in and from falling off the table on the sides. So once that was done on the one side, I copied it and then I moved the second one over to the other side. That way there weren't marbles just flying off midway through the course. I kind of wanted them to make it all the way through to the bottom. And then we started working on the back where the dam was. We fleshed it out a little bit more so we had some room to put the rocks down. We brought the dam down and we set it in the ground nicely. And then we started placing all the scenery around it just to kind of give it that atmosphere, make it look good. So after we placed the rocks on that side, we then did the same thing to the other side. And finally, we decided to make a trough, something to like catch all the marbles. You know, I didn't want them just falling off into the room. I really wanted to see how many marbles went through the town. So I started building this trough and I extended it out all the way around. I also then added some sidewalls to keep as many of the marbles as possible in. I didn't really care if a lot of them fell out. As you can see, I got some gaps in the corners, but that didn't really matter. I just wanted to catch the majority of the marbles. And that was pretty much it. We were basically done at this point. I added a few small little touches here, but nothing too significant. And then it was time to take the entire town and tilt it. This way, all the marbles would kind of go with gravity and make their way through the town. So I gave it like a slight angle, as you can see here. And then it was time to test. It was time to turn my PC into the biggest potato you have ever seen in your life. So here we go. This is our first real test. We did all blue and white marbles just to make it look and feel like water. And here's where my computer gets real slow. So luckily the game actually auto slows down time so it can handle it a little better. It does look amazing. Even though it is slow, it looks super cool with all the marbles just flying out. It's like a huge tsunami, a huge wave coming through the city. There's something so satisfying about destroying the city that you just created. I don't know if that's bad, but it was certainly a lot of fun to see everything just get completely flooded. I took a few different angles here just so we could see how much destruction really runs through this city. And I just love the way that the marbles just find each alley to go down. And it basically fills up all the roads. Super awesome, super insane. And just the way it looks is so satisfying to me. Super awesome. Then we decided to step it up a notch, and I really wanted to see how it would look with normal colored marbles or just like a rainbow colored marbles. And we spawned so many marbles. My PC was running super slow. And we actually end up doing a time lapse here, and it was over 20 minutes long. And I ended up speeding up this time lapse, and I'll play it for you here in a sec. But the different colored marbles just look so awesome. Super crazy to see them all just running through. Anyway, I'm gonna play that time lapse now just so you can see how many marbles were spawned and how long it takes them all to get through the city. So anyway, by the end of this time lapse, I was wondering why are all the marbles getting stuck, and I ended up looking down, and the trough was basically just full, so all the marbles were just backed up, and yeah. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to smash that like button. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to hit the subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.